Yes, good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Welcome back to Football Heritage TV. Whoever you are, wherever you are, and whoever you support, you are more than welcome. I am really happy today. I've been joined by Conrad from Black Cats TV. Conrad, how you doing? And I'm guessing my audience wouldn't have seen you before. So if you want to give yourself an intro, my man, how are you?
Yeah, I'm doing well, thank you. Yeah, I'm still very. I only met you. When was it? Back in, I want to say August, September, sometime, and it was very much. I'm sort of just starting out with a friend of mine, Mike, on our channel, so we're very, very new. But you've introduced me to some lovely people, so we're doing all right so far. We're growing quickly for a Sunderland channel that was starting off only in the Championship last season, but doing all right, doing all right.
Good. Yeah, when I met you, had you been promoted? Yes, it was just after you'd won the
We were
playoff
just
final,
about
wasn't
to
it?
sign Talby. I think we had Diarra and Siddiqui at the time. Then you were telling me about Talby.
Yes. Yeah. Oh God, I told everybody and anybody about Talby. I really wanted Spurs to get him. But yeah, listen, I remember that sitting in the offices at the Sun Talk Sport. And then I was about to debate. Was I debating a West Ham fan?
West Ham fan, yeah. And I will say you were robbed. You told me afterwards that you were robbed. So I went back and watched it, and yeah, you were. And you were robbed against. Was it the Chelsea fan the time before as well?
Do you know the problem I had, Conrad, with that one was I told you I was going to be robbed because the presenter was a West Ham fan, and the guy I was actually debating, really nice guy.
Oh yeah, he was
lovely, lot smarter than me, so he was bamboozling me with words, whereas I'm just a little South London boy who's got about 30 words in my vocabulary, you know.
Yeah, he was making me laugh, and I was like, "Oh no, that's terrible," because now I remember his points and not the point of the actual question.
Yeah.
And I was like, every time. Even at one point, I think he shouted, he went, "I didn't even think of that," and you're probably right, bang. And it was like, because I was laughing, I was too busy thinking he'd answered it and did it from there.
Yeah, it was interesting. Listen, this is another one of the season so far, just to keep people sane throughout the international breaks, because they are draining. And I'll be honest, I don't really care that England beat teams 5-0 that we should be beating 5-0. It doesn't do anything for me. But listen, Conrad's got a brilliant channel called Black Cats TV. If one of my mods, nope, they've already beat me to it. There you go. One of my mods has already beat me to it. Guys and girls, come on, we know what we do over here. We don't just follow Spurs channels. Please get over there, show some love, show some support. We've got nothing against Sunderland. I'm not asking you to follow an Arsenal or a Chelsea channel here. Sunderland, we've got nothing against Sunderland, or have we? Let's find out throughout the show. Conrad, talk to me. The season so far. So Sunderland, by hook or crook, came up last year. Talk to me before we go to the summer and this season. My understanding was that last year you were there, and then you kind of fell off massively, like with 10, 15 games to go.
Yeah.
And then squeezed through via the playoffs. Is that fair? Would you say that's a fair assessment of what happened?
So we started the season on absolute flames. I think we won first 4 games before the international break. We were top of the league, 12 points, and no one was near us, a bit like Borough have done this season if they managed to keep that up as well. And then afterwards, we were a bit patchy, but we were there, and we never fell lower than 4th throughout the season. So right from the start, it was always just first, second, and then about November time, we hit 4th, and we didn't move until May when we left the season. We were there the whole time, but in this time, Leeds, Burnley, Sheffield United were all hitting their stride and actually getting further up the pitch, winning more important games than we were doing. We had a period in, I think it was November, December, where we drew 7 in a row. In this time, Bellingham was out suspended, Ballard was out injured. So we sort of were like limping through games away at like QPR and Oxford's, and I'm trying to think of other ones. I tried to phase it out now because we're in the Premier League.
Big clubs.
Yeah, all the big ones.
QPR and Oxford, yeah.
Oh, well, we had a terrible record against Plymouth Argyle, who got relegated. I think we got 1 point off them in the whole season. So it was, all the ones that you think you should beat, a bit like England, you ended up not. And then it came round to playing at Ellen Road, playing at Bramall Lane, playing at Turf Moor, and we didn't win any of them. I think we got a draw against Burnley, where if anyone remembers, James Trafford announced himself by saving 2 penalties in the 85th minute and then the 93rd minute from us, and we were a bit sort of like, this is what we needed to get promotion, but it just wasn't. I mean, Leeds, Burnley, and Sheffield United were far away above everyone. we got into April, and because we were that far ahead of 7th place, we actually qualified for the playoffs like first week of April because we were that far ahead. Like, oh, right, okay, brilliant. And then rather sort of controversially so far, the manager decided the next 5 games aren't important. What is important is resting the players, making sure that we don't pick up any injuries for the playoffs. And he started to play a lot of the kids, a lot of the fringe players, and sort of really take the foot off the gas in sort of, I think, this attempt to get some sort of life back into us and sort of be like, well, it doesn't matter where you're 3rd, 4th, 5th, or 6th. You're in the playoffs regardless, and you're going to get one of them. So we then lost our last 5 games in a row, which everyone goes, wow, you were terrible going into the playoffs, which we were all at the time going, my God, we're falling. We're absolutely falling here. And then, we then
I'm still here, by the way.
Oh, don't worry. We came up against Coventry, who we'd not beaten at whichever stadium they played at now and throughout their history, who we'd not beaten since 1985, and we'd not beaten at home since 2006. And we were a bit like, brilliant, great. This is teeing up to be a fantastic, failure of a season. But we went to Coventry and we stole the win, is probably the best way of saying it. We picked up a back pass in the 89th minute, rounded the keeper and nicked it. And then that crazy second leg at the stadium.
Was this the header in the last minute?
The header where he jumps about 12 foot, but he ducks at the same time to make sure he doesn't jump over the ball. In the 121st minute and 59 seconds of 122 off the underside the bar. I don't think I've ever seen a goal like it in the stadium. I think it was relief as well as like just ecstasy. The place went absolutely like crazy. It really did. And then they literally went, right, kick off, and it's finished. And it was like magical. And weirdly, I know I'm talking a bit here, but weirdly, me and my friends who do a podcast every Wednesday night at 9:00, who also support Sunderland, we're talking about, we've got Sheffield United. Yes, they've got parachute payments, they've got Premier League players, but we all fancied us to beat them, even though we'd had this terrible stretch of games. We're a bit like, there's just something that's just, this is fate. This is what we're going to do. Especially how we got through against Coventry. We were like, this is it. And if we don't do it now, we're probably going to lose Bellingham. We're going to lose Rigg. We're going to lose Ballard. We're going to lose Hume. We're going to lose, and the rebuild was then going to be several years putting us further back. But I think the best way to say it is we started terribly in that final. VAR came to our aid to stop it being 2-0. And then we just turned up from 70 minutes and just sort of played them off the park and managed to steal it. The best way of saying it is we stole promotion. That's probably the best way of saying it. But
listen, it's a long year, though. Yeah. It's a long year. You're there by merit. It doesn't matter whether you were good at the beginning of the season, end of the season. You're where you're meant to be at the end of the season.
Yeah.
So let's look then. So you get through. By the way, I think you played Coventry at the right time, because I don't think anyone wants to play Coventry right now. And I know this has nothing to do with this show, but I think a little bit of credit that never gets given to Frank Lampard. What a wonderful year he has had at Coventry. He has been one of the best managers in the country this last year in terms of points gained. Anyway, that's Frank Lampard. He's Chelsea. Boo, we hate Chelsea. Horrible Frank Lampard. So you get to the summer, and I guess that from a fan of a club who I've never seen my team relegated, right? Spurs were relegated in the 70s.
6 times now.
Right. Now, this is my question, because when I see teams come up, I think it's always interesting to look from the outside in and go, right, what method are the team going to adopt here? Are they going to say, right, we'll add 1 or 2 and we're going to have faith with the group that got us there? Or are we going to go batshit crazy and start hiring 10, 12 players? You guys bought, you're going to tell me in a minute the exact number, but you guys, it seemed like you bought a whole 25-man squad.
Yeah.
You bought some good players. Talk to me about your summer. Talk to me about how many you bought in, how many went out, and what were your feelings of the summer?
It's been crazy, because we were sort of thinking, right, what we've got to look at is the last 6 teams that have been promoted and basically don't do what they did. So don't do what Ipswich Town did and just buy the best of the championship players, because it didn't get them anywhere. don't do what, Burnley and Southampton did and come up and think that you can play your style of football and you'll easily beat the Premier League sides. It just doesn't work like that. We knew we weren't going to be good enough in our sort of current establishment. Sorry, Chris Rigg. Yes, I would say he needs more game time, and he'll probably get it. I'll get on to why shortly, but yes, I think he's going to get some game time coming up. Actually, we sort of knew that we weren't going to live long in our established team, and I think we thought. I remember when we've gone down with 19 points and with 15 points and sort of thought, oh God, I don't want another one of those seasons. They're not fun, winning maybe one game at home all season and scraping a few draws that other fans are devastated that they got a draw against you, Bellingham went very quickly.
You've nearly reached that number already, Conrad.
Yeah.
That's you're 4 points off that, right? You're 4 points away from the 15. Come on.
Exactly. We're nearly there. And we're 1 point behind Southampton, who gave us loads of pelters, thinking that we wouldn't surpass their total. And we've done 7 games. So it's it's really nice, actually. So there's only one team in red and white, not Southampton. But no, Bellingham went really quickly because of the Club World Cup, and Dortmund were in for him very quickly. So I think that was done before in that like mini window before the proper one. He went for what we consider really good money, about 33 million. I'm not sure if that was pounds or euros, but he went for around that. And we were all a little gutted because we kind of went, well, he is really important to that sort of left-hand channel of our central midfield. He's a very good engine, box to box, but would that translate to the Premier League? We'll never know at this moment. And of course, Watson, who scored our winner in the final, was already promised to go to Brighton for 10 million. Yeah, Tom Watson. Yeah. Tom? Yeah. So he was already off there. So we were a bit like, right, well, we need to make sure we hold on to the likes of Hume at right back, Ballard, and then we were looking at like, well, if Sirkin, former Tottenham player, could stay fit, he'll be a real asset going forward. And then we were starting to go, is Dan Neil ready? Is Chris Rigg ready at 17, 18? Enzo Lefebvre we had to buy because we had an agreement to do it if we got promoted, but I'm not moaning at that. He's a fantastic player.
Yeah, I like him.
We signed him on a permanent. And then we were sort of like, right, well, where are we left? So the first one that came in was Habib Diarra, the replacement basically for Bellingham. So the money that came in for Bellingham just went straight over onto Diarra. He came in as our record signing for about 30 million. Unfortunately, he's out injured now until December. So he's played 3 games and then, the curse has struck that he's gone. Yeah. But we've done all right without him, I will say. We've done okay. He hadn't quite found his feet, but he was just really good at just getting the ball and just driving forward from what little we've seen of him so far. He was really good. And then we've got Noah Siddiqui from, I think it was Union St. Berlin, I want to say. One of those, somewhere. Yeah. It was anywhere. And he was about 20 million. And we were like, we're putting a lot of money in these players who've not played at Premier League level, but have played in Europe, in, other countries and what have you. And he's now just gone off injured in this international break and might be out for a while with the spread. And we're like, brilliant. Our 2 central midfielders in front of Xhaka. Fantastic. And then we met and obviously we spoke about Talby at that point, and you were telling me all about him. And I didn't realize he was like a fringe sort of up and comer through at Club Brugge. And then we've got him. He hadn't even really sort of played a full sort of season. And when he first came in, we were a bit like, oh, I don't know, but he's picking up every game. He's getting better and better. And we're a bit like,
little winger, that guy, isn't he? I like him.
His defensive duties are really underrated as well. He's tracking back like no tomorrow, and really got on like left wing back where he had to fill in when we had 10 men. He's great. And then we were sitting there going, well, these are great, these players here. Like, but where's the experience? Where's the this? Are we just buying a load of really expensive talent, which is great? If we do end up going down, they'll still be worth something. If it was good. And then the random one came out was Xhaka, just out of nowhere. It was like, oh yeah, they're interested in Xhaka, and we all went, yeah, good one, yeah, fair enough. and then they were like, no, they've had meetings, and it was like, yeah, right, well, this will be a no, like whatever. And then all of a sudden it just seemed to be he was kicking up a fuss saying, I only want to go to Sunderland, which we've never heard anybody say. Like, I don't care what players say on their first interview for a club.
Yeah,
they don't. You just don't say that. And it was like,
I don't want Real Madrid. I don't want Liverpool. I want to go to Sunderland.
Yeah, exactly. And
team.
this was like the 16th ranked best player in the world like a year or two ago. And we were like, why the hell do you want to come here? You know, but by hook or by crook, we got him. And, you know, that was almost then the key to the next level of players that came in for us. So when we got like Nordi Mukiele, who'd been at Leverkusen on loan, but PSG beforehand. Then we got Alderete from Getafe, who was in La Liga's team of the season last year. Then we've got Gutreda from, I think it was Ajax, or he was at Ajax and then at somebody else. Then we've got Brobby from Ajax, who's always been really good for Ajax, but I think he's had a spell recently where his stock might have gone down a little bit. So we've seemed to have picked him up at that moment of gone like, right, well, come and prove that you're better than us. And then, you know, move on from this one as well. Reinildo on a free from Atletico Madrid.
He's the one that got sent off against Villa, right?
Yeah, and gave away a penalty against. The weird thing is, he's brilliant. Like, I don't know, like he's everywhere. Like, I don't know how else to say that. Like, he's meant to be at left back, and then all of a sudden he's appearing on the right wing and taking on two players, and then somehow still back in position to sort of defend.
He's got a great engine on him, Ronaldo, hasn't he? He has got a good engine.
People were saying, oh, he's old. And I'm like, he's 31. He's 4 years younger than me. Same with Xhaka when they were saying, oh, he's past it now. And I'm like, he's 32. Like, give it a rest.
This is a modern day football thing, right? When I was growing up, 30, 31 for a footballer, it was like, they're in their prime. They're experienced. Now it's, do we buy this player? He's 28. Well, he's 28.
Give him a 1 or 2 year deal or something. Yeah.
What? What do you mean? What? 28 your legs don't work, you know? So he's great, but there was a video that the club did, I think a couple of games in, where a few of the new signings played with the under-9s team and just a little bit of a kickabout at training, and some under-9 flattened another one, like winning the ball, and Reinildo sprinted across the pitch just to go, yes, and like high five and like celebrate like a goal, and we were all like, yeah, you'll do for me, lad. This is brilliant. You know, absolutely. But there was that one against Villa. Like that. You know, and you know, I'm not. We'll get into this in a bit more detail. I'm not saying you are in a relegation battle right now, but in a year which is perceived that the clubs that will come up will be in a relegation battle, you need your Xhakas, you need the Ronaldo, you need these type of players that want to fight. So I don't mean I mean, you know, they want to fight and win every ball, and you need that, right? You've got to have that.
And those four that I've mentioned, Reinildo, Xhaka, Alderete, and Mukiele, I've never seen players come into a club so quickly and just get it and just get that winning is absolutely the utmost of it. The keeper as well, Robin Roof's only his second professional season, and already people are saying he's our signing of the summer, you know, and he'll be on to a bigger and better move next season. People might have seen his saves against Man United, against Forest, against Crystal Palace, against Villa, and you're just like, you can't have this many saves every week. At some point, something's got to go in. But like he does about 5 or 6 a game.
You never want to be known as the goalkeeper that made the most saves in a season, because that's actually a kind of it's nice, but it's also shows you defensively that a team is not great. So where did you get him from?
Oh, now you're asking. He was actually like
someone in the chat will find out. Don't worry about it. Anyone in the chat, where did the Sunderland goalkeeper come from?
He was actually our third choice. We went after this player called Bulka, who was a goalkeeper who then went to the FC Neom in Saudi. Instead, we offered him like 60 grand a week, and they offered him like 180. So it was, you know, we weren't going to win that one.
As nice as Sunderland is, I mean,
he needed to speak to Xhaka first. Then we went to Petrovic, who of course chose Bournemouth instead and went that way. So then when Roofs came up, we were all like, oh, how far down this list are we going here? Like, you know, like how far to go? But he's been exactly what we needed. Very quick off his line, easy to come out and claim crosses. I think he's 6'4", 6'5", so he's a big lad, and he's just brilliant. He's brilliant, and he saved 2 penalties already for us as well so far. He'll save us more than 10 points this season.
I'm unaware what that's like. I mean, anyone in the chat will tell you. I can't remember Vicario saving a penalty in a Spurs shirt. I can't remember him getting anywhere near them. But hey, that's just me.
Did Lloris, though, out of interest? I can't remember Lloris. Yeah. He must have done. He was there long enough.
He must have. I'll tell you what, in the chat, can anyone find out for me how many penalties did Hugo Lloris save in a Tottenham shirt? He was there for about, what, nine years?
Yeah, he was nearly a decade at Spurs. He's got to have done something.
Yeah. The shame with Hugo, for 5, 6, 7 years, Hugo Lloris was top. Like, he was up there.
It's class.
And then we did what we normally do at Spurs, Conrad. We just kept him a bit long because fans at Spurs are very emotional, and we never want to let a player go. I'm the sort of fan of, right, we've had the best of you. Let's get some money for you. No, we're an emotional bunch, Conrad. We're an emotional bunch.
See, the chat is saying he saved one against Arsenal, but did he save one against Man City as well, where Sterling then dived on the rebound? That clip of Mourinho sprinting up, going, "That's a yellow card," like when he was your manager.
Oh gosh, yeah, something like that. The chat will tell us. This is the beauty of going live, right? Is these guys collectively, the memories are ridiculous. Like, I work with people that will just go, the game you're thinking of was 1993 on a Tuesday night in the snow, and you're like, what are you like? Where did you get
I can do that with Sunderland games and goal scorers, but the more recent stuff actually fails me. But then someone will go, "Do you remember when you played West Ham in 2009?" I was like, "Yeah, at home it was 3-0. You know, these guys scored." And it's just,
isn't it mad? But if my wife asked me to take the bins out in the morning and I haven't eaten, I forget that. But I remember thousands of footballers. Okay, so you've how many players in total came in? How many was it in the end? What was the total number?
I seem to remember it being about 14 or 15, because there was the stat going round that we spent more than Forest did 3 seasons ago when they came up and spent all that money on their team. So, but Forest bought 21 players, and whereas we bought 15 but spent like 30-40 more million than them in doing so. So I think it was about 40.
Forest are the gift that keep giving, though, for so many reasons. Forest, I mean, they have signed, I'm guessing in the last 3 years they've signed more players than, Chelsea might give them a good run, but I'm guessing they've signed more players than anyone else. But
they never stand still, forward or backwards, so they never stand still.
Never. So you signed all these players before a ball was kicked. I don't mean pre-season, but before a ball was kicked in the Premier League. What was your thought? What were the Sunderland fans thinking? This is going to be a real tough season. We're going down. We're definitely staying up. Too many new players. Where were you at?
I was at, I'm happy with 17th. That was where I was at very much beforehand. Regardless of who we could have signed Messi and I'd have said 17th. Messi is probably like 17th. It's fine. That's all I want. Just don't want to go back down to playing, God knows who in that division. I've been out of the Premier League for 10 years. I want to stay here for a bit. And a lot of us were very similar. That I think a few of us might have said, between 15th or lower, we're happy with that, especially some of the players that we bought, and like we mentioned, the Xhakas and the Ronaldos, and all of these ones, we were like, I think we can possibly get in there. We were more looking at other teams, so we were looking at Wolves, we were looking at West Ham. We all thought Bournemouth would have a fall off, and they didn't. But then Brentford are sort of inconsistent at the moment, so we were a bit like, well, they're one to go after. And we honestly thought we had better windows than both Burnley and Leeds, so we were a bit like, well, we were that far behind them last season, but I feel like we might have either caught up or at least done better than them so far, probably because we had that freedom of the money, because we didn't spend any for 4 years. So now we've spent so much now. But the level-headed fans would say 15th or lower. There was a lot of fans, including my co-host on the other channel, who said we should be aiming for top 10, which we were all a bit like, why do you think this? Like, what reason have we given you to do this? Then we beat West Ham, and we all thought we should be top 10. No, it was sort of like it was a sort of false dawn, that one. We sort of think, I still think 15th. We know we know our team's gonna get raided in December, January for AFCON. We've got a lot of African players that we've bought in who all seem to be qualifying. And in that run, we've got, I think, Liverpool, Man City, Newcastle, Leeds, Man City again, and yourselves on New Year's Day, which is just a horrible group of fixtures in there.
As a club that comes up, though, Conrad, you see a lot of pundits talk about this. with all due respect, teams like Sunderland don't look at that run and go, this is going to be what decides if we get relegated or not.
Yeah.
It's the other games, isn't it? It's the Leeds, the Burnleys, the West Hams, the Wolves. It's those teams where you've got to be taking your points. It's not going to be Man City, Liverpool, Arsenal, Tottenham. I'm not saying we're, but that's
anything's
not
a bonus off those teams. Yeah, anything's a bonus off of the sort of the bigger teams. But no, the beauty of our fixture list was, as people said when it came out, was, oh, you've got such an easy run at the start. You've got West Ham at home, Burnley away, you've got Brentford at home, and then I think it's Palace away at that point. And it was like, you've got such an easy start to the season. But before that, before the fixtures came out, everyone was telling us we're going to get battered and go down with record low points. So we couldn't win. Then we beat West Ham quite convincingly, which at the time felt amazing. 3 weeks later, didn't feel that impressive anymore when everybody was doing it. But then we went to Burnley.
The life of a football fan. Yeah.
We went to Burnley.
With Man United. Teams beat Man United. Now, we beat Man United. And then 3 weeks later, people are going, oh, well, everyone's beating Man United now. So it's kind of not
exactly.
fun, but yeah.
We went to Burnley away, and the manager's first probably mistake in the Premier League, we just set up completely wrong. Ballard got injured in that game as well. We should have taken the lead in the first half and didn't. And then we fell into the trap of their sort of defensive play. They nicked a goal off of us. We chased the game, trying to equalise, and they scored a second. And it was, game was done. So then it meant Brentford was like really important. Brentford, of course, got battered by Forest at the beginning of the season, then beat Villa. So we were a bit like, well, a draw, I suppose, is okay, but we nicked a winner. It's in our style of like the playoffs so far. We nicked a winner from that one as well. So we were on 6 from 2. Then we went to Palace, unbeaten Palace, on this amazing run. And we defensively held firm is probably the best way of saying it in that second half. Roofs must have been about 9 absolute worldy saves. The defense were blocking shots left, right, and centre. And it was just one of those days where we came away from it and we were like, we're so much better than we were last. Because if we had that same team from last season that would have played it would have been 5-6-0 to Palace. We then had Villa, and we thought, this is great. Villa are on a terrible run, haven't even scored a goal this season. Like, what a time to be playing Aston Villa at home. Reinildo gets sent off after half an hour, and we're like, brilliant, right? We're down to 10 men. Yet we were still better than them, for that whole game. Obviously, we had to tuck in a bit defensively. Matty Cash scored their first goal. It swerved a bit, and Roofs probably should have saved it, but I can't blame him for saving us a point down at Palace and then saving us a point at Forest when one skims past him. But we equalised almost immediately and probably could have won it. But 10 men at home against Villa, it's not to be coming back from being 1-0 down in like 70 minutes as well to sort of go.
And since then, they've been back on form since then.
They sort of woke up then.
Yeah, I always thought, but just going off on a tangent, I always thought that Villa's start to the season kind of summed up football fans for me. And what I mean by that is everyone going, oh, look at Villa. Because I've been very impressed with Villa in the last 3 years since Emery's been there. And everyone, oh, you're Aston Villa. I was like, listen, their squad is too good, and Unai Emery is too good a manager that this is going to keep happening. They will be there or thereabouts for European places because they've got Emery. But so that was a good point in the end, right? Against 10 men.
Oh, it was a fantastic point in the end, especially considering 30 minutes in, you've lost one of your defenders, and you're like, brilliant. And because it was deemed violent conduct, of course, he missed out the next 3 games, so he's serving his final ban this Saturday. But then we went to Forest, and everyone was like, it's Ange's Forest now. It's not Nuno's. They're in this transition of sort of counter-attacking football into all-out Ange ball, and I think this was just after the Swansea game. Well, I saw I think it was on 12th Man when they were talking about that screenshot where it was like 5 Swansea players and the 2 Forest ones, and it was like they were 2-0 up at this time or something. And it's like, why are you doing this? Like, see the game out. And obviously they went on to, and I was thinking, well, again, a point away at Forest isn't bad, but we we took the lead. We were the better team in the first half, and then I think again we just defensively held firm, but it wasn't nearly as bad as Palace. Palace easily should have won that game, but with the Forest one, it was just we were defensively really solid. Could have nicked a second in the end, but didn't, and we were like, this. We were almost thinking this league's easy. What's everyone been talking to us about? But I think in the first 7 games, I will include Man United, I think we just played everybody at the right time in that first period. West Ham, who, didn't really want Potter, weren't really convinced on their transfers, their business, what they were going to do this season, and we sort of knew what we wanted to do first game. Burnley, we got wrong. We'll all hold our hands up. Brentford in the transition of a manager. Villa not on the best of forms. Palace just after their first Europa League game. Forest under transition of a manager. I really thought we'd get something from Man United. It just felt it was like, this is us, final nail in the coffin of Ruben Amorim. That's how it felt going into that game of we're playing them at the perfect time again, and we just got our system completely wrong, and they battered us for half an hour and won it.
You're not gonna look. What I would say is I feel like you've done yourself dirty a little bit there. I mean, yeah, you can look at what's going on at other clubs, but it's not a coincidence if you keep putting in these good performances. It doesn't matter if Forest have a new manager and Man U are down on their luck and Burnley. You've done well. I think you're downplaying what's been a good start. And if we actually look at the Premier League table, I'm guessing, I can't speak for you because I'm not a Sunderland fan. I'm guessing if I had said to you, look, that's going to be the table after the first 7 games of the season. We're not quite at the quarter of a way through, but you would take that 3 wins, 2 draws, 2 defeats, and sitting 9th. You'd bite my hand off for that, wouldn't you?
Oh yeah, I'd have bitten both your hands off for that at the start. Yeah. You're probably right. I think I'm still in this sort of mindset of I'm looking at every game going, how do we take advantage of the situation that we're in? And I think that comes from the playoff campaign that we had, where we had to sort of change our game to get past Coventry, and then we had to change it up mid-game for Sheffield United. So I'm still looking at it as like, how do we take advantage of this team and get what's out of it? We actually are really good. Like we've been, some of the play that we've had, like I think the best way of saying it is when the 2 centre-backs came on against Brentford on Alderete and McKaylee, who were volleying crosses to each other at one point trying to score, and you're just like, who are these two like doing? Like we're used to just back in the day, like Stan Varga just Route 1 football, or like Darren Williams and stuff, and now we've got 2 players from abroad who are like just playing keep ball in the opposition's box from a corner. Like we're all sort of just, I think, along for the ride of this team so far, and the togetherness of it has been so impressive so far. So maybe I am downplaying it, but it's like, I think I'm still in that mindset as a Sunderland fan. You will all be in this. Something's going to go wrong at some point, and it can't last. But that's my history as a Sunderland fan.
But it's not. You'll have these ups and downs throughout the season, right? I mean, we see this so many times where clubs, again, we get excited. Football fans get excited. I've seen this with so many clubs. They get promoted. They have a great start, and too many fans start going, "Oh, I tell you what. These guys keep up. They could get into Europe." And I'm always saying to people, look, it's a long season. It's a long season. What you're doing in August, September, October, that's brilliant. And it's great to get points on the board. But it's what you do when you've got a tough December with 7-8 games. It's what you do when you're in January now and you've got injuries and the pitches are hard. And I feel football fans need to come. I think you guys should stay up. I think you should.
We do, yeah. I really think
we
should. The
problem I've got, Conrad, and I'm going to be brutally honest with you, right? I'm not going to blow smoke up your ass just because you're on my channel, right? Is I don't see, I'm struggling this year when I'm talking about who's going to get relegated. I see Burnley and I go, yeah, you're going to go down. I think they're going to be strong. I think they're going to be organised. I don't see goals, right? I genuinely don't see they're going to score enough goals. When I look outside of Burnley, let's bring the Premier League table back up, actually. When I look outside of Burnley, let's go down to the bottom. I genuinely look down there and I go, right, who is for me a nailed-on favourite to go down? And I'll ask the chat, give us your 3. Who's going down? Which 3? Because I don't think Forest will go down. As funny as that would be, I don't think they will. They've got far too many players of note. You know, when you look at Anderson, Gibbs White, and Doy, you know, Chris Wood, Calamawundo,
The two centre
McAtee.
backs as well.
Yeah. They've got far too much to go down, in my opinion. Brentford. I think Brentford will be fine because they're an organised football club. They are. I think they'll be fine. Leeds, played them. They looked decent. Fulham, I can't see them going down. Villa, Brighton, Newcastle, West Ham, you would say, once Nuno gets his feet under the table, they've got the likes of Paqueta and Bowen and Fulkrug. And I genuinely couldn't sit here right now, Conrad, and go, they're my three favourites. I genuinely can't. I don't know who to say.
No, we were the same. I think that's what every week we're sort of doing this thing that I don't like doing, but it's like, well, what did the other teams do? Like, well, how we're sort of still looking at the minute. So this Saturday we've got Wolves at home, and obviously we've got the 2 injuries that I mentioned, but we're still like, even though it's October, we're still like, that's almost a must-win game, really, to just put ourselves, 12 points ahead of them already. Just something just to help down there. I think this weekend, West Ham might play, or Leeds play Burnley, and don't Forest or Brentford play West Ham or someone like that. I think a lot of the bottom 5 or 6 or 2 of them, 2 games are each other. So we're a bit like looking there going, well, actually, if they win that one, that's not bad. And this one there. So there's no set people, but that's good for us in a way. There's so many options of, you know, this could happen, that could happen. I remember the last season when people were going, Brighton are a great side, Fulham are a great side, Villa are a great side, Brentford are a great side, Forest are great. They just talked about all these teams. And I went, well, they all can't win every week. Someone has to lose or drop points here or there. So as long as we can just keep picking up our points as we go on and have been so far, we'll do all right, and we're not going to be embarrassed. You know, that was the main thing. Don't be embarrassed. And then so far this season, we've done that so far. But if we can just keep picking up points here and there, you know, getting our wins at home, hopefully, and just picking up what we can on the way, we'll be all right. I couldn't sit here now and categorically say we will not be relegated, but I am sitting here going, I hope to God we're not relegated. But it's like you say, that someone's going to pick. Wolves could sack the manager at any point, get someone in, and he'll have a little honeymoon period and get them back out of there. Like you say, Nuno, when he gets his team going and starts playing his way, you'll soon see Fulkrug maybe playing like Chris Wood did last season and getting more goals for them. And then you've got Bowen and Paquetá behind him. I agree with Burnley. I just don't see the goals in that team. But they have the capacity to beat teams 1-0 and just sort of, you know, and hold out.
Can they get enough 1-0s throughout a season?
That's the bit that I'm a bit...
If you're looking at 35, 40, it changes every year. But if you're looking in and around there, are they getting, I don't know, are they getting 9 1-0 wins and then 10 draws? I don't know if they are.
It's just, I don't think they've got enough. I really don't. But if they were going to do it, that's how they will get through. I did think it was, there seems to be a lot of Twitter banter between Sunderland, Leeds and Burnley at the moment. And my favourite one tends to be when Burnley play really well and lose. So like Liverpool, like Man United, even against yourself, but yourself was a bigger scoreline. They still played really well. You know, they did all right.
I think and then they're going to be in games. I think they're going to be in games. And when Parker came up, we all said last year, I mean, they had the best defence in, if I'm not wrong, it was the country.
Easily.
All 4 leagues, or even at the comp, they had the best defence.
Yeah.
And that's great. That can get you out of that league. Problem is, when you come up to the Premier League, brilliant. Be good at the back, but who's putting the ball in the net? And I look at them, they've got Jadon Anthony, who I think is a good footballer. Mm-hmm. Other than that, I look at, is Lyle Foster going to get you 10 to 12 Premier League goals?
Is Brozier going to play that they bought from? Yeah.
Right. But then I look at Wolves. And this is almost a mirror image of Wolves last year, right? This is almost a mirror image. Wolves had a terrible start, sacked Gary O'Neill, brought in
Vitor
Pereira, right?
Yeah.
Brought in Vitor Pereira, and they went. Whew. Now,
Yeah.
this year they've done the opposite. They've had an awful start, Conrad, and then give their manager a brand new contract. And I don't know. I again, I look at them and go, right, Yao Gomez, Andre, Strand Larson, and all these people. And I think, are you going to go down? Someone's got to, right?
Someone's got to. And that's what I was meaning when people were talking to us about these are good. They listed like pretty much 17 teams in the Premier League. They're all really good. And I was like, but they all don't win every week. Someone has to beat someone eventually, and someone will drop points. And that's what I was meaning. Like, if we just concentrate on what we're doing, we'll still be in and around it at the end of the season. It's sort of, you can't all win, but Wolves are on a wobbly platform. It depends how long they continue. And like you say, that contract came out, but we were like, oh, they've sacked him. Oh, they've given him a new deal. That's bizarre. But I mean, they played okay against yourselves and sort of, narrowly got a point from that one. They got a point against Brighton at home the other day. So I don't know if they're sort of the starting to slowly turn it on. And I hope that doesn't happen on Saturday. But
well, their next three are huge. They've got you away, followed by Burnley at home, followed by I'm not going to count the League Cup, which is Chelsea, and the next game after that is Fulham. So Sunderland and Burnley. Now, no disrespect to you guys, if you're in the Wolves training ground right now, you're saying, guys, Sunderland, Burnley, this needs to be four points minimum. Ideally, this is 6 points, but get your draw at Sunderland. Beat Burnley at home. Suddenly, you're looking at the table going, oh, Wolves are at the bottom three. Yeah. And so I'm going to ask you right now, which three? Come on, which three are going down right now? And I will clip this. No, I'm joking. Which three are going down?
Burnley, Wolves, and then I'm sort of being put on the spot here. I'm going to keep saying that, so it's in the clip there. Just for sheer banter, I'm going to go Leeds. I think they'll hit a rocky period, and I think they'll make a decision on Farke quite quickly because of his history in the Premier League with Norwich and his style of play. It might be a detriment to him, like when they got rid of Bielsa for Marsh, that sort of thing, when it was like you were actually better before and don't. Yeah. I think that could come into it as well. But the Forests, the Sunderlands, the West Hams, the Brentfords will all be there or thereabouts as well, I think, by the end of the season.
Yeah. And I do kind of agree with you, Martin. Again, this is when you look at Leeds. Now, I think the difference with Leeds to the other clubs, I think that Ellen Road will keep them up. By the way, I'm not saying they'll definitely stay up, but I think that of all the clubs, that's a stadium where people don't want to go. That's why I think when Spurs fans were going, oh, it's easy, it's Leeds away. And I was like, whoa, Leeds haven't lost for 14 months at their stadium, which is what I think made it a good win for us.
They were fantastic when we played them last season. Honestly, we played our best game of football at Ellen Road and just couldn't get near them.
Yeah, well, listen, they're strong. What Leeds were, they were very strong in midfield. They were very organised. But again, I'm looking at that Leeds forward line and going, who's getting your goals? They've signed, Dominic Calvert-Lewin.
But when he gets injured, what happens then?
Right. So, listen, I think it's going to be interesting. I think we'll know more December time. I think we'll start seeing more who's actually in I do this, by the way, with the top. I don't think there's a title race right now, and I don't think there's a relegation battle right now. We will see. Once you get to about 20 games into the season, you're going to see, right, who's up the shit creek without a paddle. Yeah. So, and the thing is, some clubs will be able to buy themselves out of it. That's the difference as well. Can a West Ham or a Forest, if they're down in the relegation battle in January, can they go and buy that striker that grabs them 8 goals before the end of the season to keep them up? I don't know. I want to move away from Sunderland, if that's okay, for a few minutes. A lot of Spurs fans will be watching this, and I've asked the same of every one of my guests. Spurs, talk to me. As obviously we don't have a rivalry, so I think this could be a civilized conversation. What do you make of Tottenham? There's a lot of upheaval. Europa League winners, then everyone left the club, brand new structure? What do you make of Tottenham right now?
I thought at the time you were right to get rid of Ange. I think the trophy win was absolutely fantastic. Of course it was. What a great achievement. But I don't think you can forgive losing, was it 20 games in a Premier League season, and being the team that sort of just above the relegation zone under any circumstance, really. It's especially a sort of with how well he did at the start of the previous season. When didn't you get that crazy game against Chelsea where you were undefeated until that game and you got, was it 2 men sent off? I remember that was the best game of football I've ever watched, that game. It was fantastic. Not for yourself, probably, but
I reckon it was a great game for the neutral, and for a Spurs fan, having 9 men on the halfway line was eye-opening.
It was, what was it? There was something that happened every 3 minutes in that game, or something like that. Whether it be like a yellow card, a goal, something was happening. It was crazy. But no, I think you were right, and I think you've, out of Frank and the Bournemouth manager Raiola, I thought those were the 2 managers that Spurs should be going after, and I think Frank's a very good one, especially for, it's still a project at Tottenham. I think, I don't think it's like, I don't mean that in an Arsenal sense of a project and trust the process. I still think it's like you've got to sort of be like, we are a Champions League sort of aiming team, should be there. We're sort of there or thereabouts. How do we get better is the sort of project. How do we take that sort of next step? And you've seen Frank from Brentford go, well, how do we get to this level? And how do we get to that level? How do we maintain when we lose something? That sort of thing. So I thought he was a very good appointment. And then I watched your PSG game and I thought, wow, like what a side we're seeing. And then PSG woke up in the last 5 minutes and sort of just did what the champions of the world at that time, champions of Europe would do. No, they'd lost to Chelsea. Sorry, they'd still the Champions League winners, of course. There, I think you needed more up top. I know Kudos is a great signing, and it's a shame that Maddison was out for, is it the full season?
Yeah, they reckon April, but let's be fair, he's coming back from 2 ACL injuries in a row. So this time. Just don't even bother at that point. Like, just sort of go, no, it's all right. We'll keep you going. I just thought you needed more than Solanke and Richarlison. Really up top, I thought that's where I would have sort of looked for, improvements for it there. But I don't know if who you were in for there. I thought, I'm terrible at pronouncing names, but is it Xavi Simons or Simmons? Yeah, Xavi Simmons. Yeah. I thought he's a really good player, but does it convert to his goal contributions at all times? It was like he's very good at getting into places, but is that going to generate what you need in games? I haven't seen a lot of him to actually sort of establish that really so far. I thought your back line was fine in Porro, in Romero, Van de Ven, and Doggy. I thought they were brilliant, and I think Romero is really underrated as a defender. He's got a bit of a nasty streak in him, which I like. I like defenders to be a bit mean sometimes. For me, with Romero, it's never been about his ability. For me, it's consistency. I'm like this with all players, Conrad, by the way. This isn't just me picking on him. A player like Romero has a great game and then gets absolutely praised to the hilt. Then he'll have a terrible game and there's excuses made for him. For me, I think what he needs to do to get talked about like the other centre-halves in the league that are praised, I think we need to see a season where he's at that level. Mm-hmm. And whether it's his fault or not, the last couple of years he's been in a defence where it's gung-ho, wide open. This year, let's see it. Let's see it. Because he's been at Spurs a long time now. Christian Romero. He's been there a while, hasn't he? But then in your midfield, I thought Paulini was a great signing. I thought it was a brilliant one. That especially that felt like a signing we made where you've sort of picked someone up from a club where they're not being utilised and sort of gone, come here, show us what you can do. And if you end up moving somewhere else again, that's fine. But we'll reap the rewards from you at the moment. And then I don't know on Sarr. Do people like Sarr? Every time I watch him, I always think and Bergvall. I'm like not convinced, but I don't watch every week. I see moments. Yeah, Sarr's an interesting one. Again, Sarr's another player that's been at Tottenham for a number of years now. People always go, oh, young, and he's been at Spurs for 4 years, right? And Sarr for me is one of those. I think he's a brilliant athlete. You know, I tell you what, there you go. I think this that sums it up. All leg. And Sarr is brilliant for certain games, Conrad. In games where we need to see it out or the other team have got the ball and we're under the cosh, I think Sarr's brilliant. Getting, you know, he's all legs, gets involved, wins the ball, he's direct, he drives. I think in games where you've got a lot of the football, he's not the guy I want. He's not the guy I go, right, get the ball to Sarr. But he's got his uses. For me, I think, again, you know what it's like. Again, 3 or 4 good games and fan bases lose their mind over players. He's okay. I think he's a good squad player. If Spurs sold him, I wouldn't wake up and go, oh, my God, what are you doing? It is what it is, right? He's a good squad player in the Premier League. That's what I'll say about him. My chat will probably tell you I'm being harsh, but let's be fair. In 4 years, he's not been able to nail down a first 11 place. That gives me my answer, Conrad.
What about is it? I'm terrible at names. Bergval.
Yeah, Bergval, younger, a lot younger than Sarr. I think he's got a lot of talent. I talk about Bergval a lot. I think he's got a lot of talent. I think he's very erratic, as you would expect from a 19-year-old, but you can see the talent. You can see the power in him. I think he'll be a very good player. But again, he's another one. I think, fan base has just gone, he's good to, oh my God, he's the greatest young player that ever played in the Premier League. And I feel like it kind of lives somewhere in the middle. And we'll see. I'll tell you what, let me ask chat, what do you think of Bergval? What do you think of him? Without going, let's not lose our minds. He's not shit. He's not the greatest young player in the world. What do you think of Bergval? Give me a sentence to sum him up. Let's see what people say. We'll come back to that. Yeah. But again, he's another one. For me, I don't put him in my first 11 immediately. There'll be games where I do, but not in general. But hey, fans love a young player, Conrad.
Yeah.
If you're young, you get a pass.
That's us with Chris Rigg. I know the comment before asked about him, but he was like instrumental in promotion for us last season, playing that sort of advanced midfielder, almost a number 10 at times. This season, he's had to sort of take a back seat because of all the players that we've brought in. And I remember your question earlier on was, about the signs that we made. We've not been, we've been ruthless is probably the best way of saying it, which is like, thanks so much for promotion, guys, but see you later. We need to actually try and stay up. We can't be loyal to you. Rigg came in against Villa and looked really good, but when that sending off happened, he was the casualty that got taken off to reshuffle the defense. Right. But he was in that position where it was only going to be him. That you weren't going to take off the striker. You weren't going to take off Enzo. You weren't going to take off Siddiqui or Xhaka. It's you, unfortunately.
He was a victim of the circumstances that day, wasn't he?
And he looked disappointed, but then he started against Forest. Bit shaky, but he kept saying in the post-match interviews that Xhaka and Mukiele were talking him through the whole game. Like, you need to be here, you need to be doing this, you need to be doing that. So he's still learning. And for a 19-year-old, he's probably going to get game time now because, like we said, Diarra's injured, Siddiqui's injured. Yeah. He will have to play these games. Maybe not the full 90. We might try and rotate one of the defenders that we've got into the midfield as well, because he came on a few games and helped shore up the midfield in front of the defence. So I think Rigg will likely play in this moment, but we'll just have to see how many games that sort of covers. But he's only 18 as well, and last season people were talking to him about going to Man United or even bigger sides than Man United at that point.
Yeah, I talk about it a lot on this channel, and it gets me a lot of flack, Conrad, is that I'm somebody that I'm all for youth players that break through, but the problem is fans just lose their mind so quickly with a young player. And if a senior player, I always say, if you look right, I always use Bentancur as the example. If Bentancur and Bergval had the exact same game in a weekend, the exact same game, Bentancur, he's not good enough, blah, 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 blah. Bergval, God, what a quality, exciting young player you've got. And the age is the only thing that determines those two things. I'm of the opinion that if you are playing in the first team at Premier League level, the age kind of goes out the window a little bit, Conrad, because it's unforgiving. This isn't a youth club. This isn't a level of football where you go, oh, let's bring through all the. This is a level of football where if managers don't get results, they get sacked. So sentiment, romanticism, I get it, but for me, I want the best players to play, and if the kids become that, then great, and if they don't, that's the football food chain for me.
Yeah, absolutely, and I think that's when we'll see from Rig in this few games. We might see Dan Neil come in as well, who was sort of sat as our number 6 last season a few times, and he was very divisive, but he's treated very harshly, I'll say, because he's from Sunderland and he's a Sunderland fan and he came through the academy. So do you ever find that the ones who come from your own academy, the ones who are Spurs, sometimes get treated more harshly by the fans? They should know it. Like we tend to find that on Rig and Neil.
Yeah. I mean, I think it goes one of two ways. When they first come through, I think that they're talked about like they're gods, and they're actually looked at better because they are from the youth team. Then after that, it starts to be, oh, well, they're just another player that's not good enough from our youth team, or, oh, he's overrated. And this is why, Conrad, I don't put hype on kids too soon. I've never done it. I'll never do it. Listen, if you're telling me, oh, you've got Lamine Yamal, yeah, I'm going to hype him up because you know what? One of the best players in the world.
And he does it every week.
Yeah. I get really frustrated with football fans. Like we played a guy, he had about 8 minutes. So hang on, my computer's going a bit funny at the moment. Sorry. Are we back? Yeah. We played a young kid for about 8 minutes against Doncaster the other week, right? He's a guy called Luca Williams-Barnett. Now, Luca Williams-Barnett is like 16 years of age, 15, whatever he is. He's playing like 3-4 years above his level in the under-21s. He's getting rave reviews. He comes on, beats a few men against Doncaster, and everyone goes, people are ringing up TalkSport going, he's like Gaza. And you're like, whoa. The kid hasn't even done his GCSEs. Like,
yeah.
So, hey, but I guess it is what it is with these younger players, right? People want them to be a lot better than they are. I always think, let them play, right? If they're good enough, they're going to play. Let them play. They're going to have bad games. We're going to call it out. They're going to be inconsistent because they're kids. I'm a firm believer, Conrad. The moment you, by you, I mean the football fan, the moment you put a player on that pedestal, I'm judging them by where you put them. And Spurs fans hate this because we did it with Harry Kane. Spurs fans will tell you Harry Kane's the greatest striker in the world. He's world class. He's elite. Cool. When you bring up, okay, in a big game, I need to see him do something. Oh, no, but it's not. You've put him there.
Yeah.
You know, so.
He's there to be shot at.
Of course. This is why I don't put players on that pedestal because they're going to be taken down one week. You are flavour of the month. The next week, you're the worst player. Look at Foden. Look at what this country did to Phil Foden. 1 month, he is the player of the year in the Premier League. 3 months, 6 months later, never rated Foden. He's shit. Look how bad. What?
Grealish as well, when the country was clamouring for him in the Euros in 2021. Gets his move to Man City, and then ever since then we've been on like that. But he's not the same, is he? But yet we were all clamoring for him a year or two before that.
Exactly, mate. And I think this is the key thing for me. I think that everyone's very reactive. Everyone's very reactive, and you'll find that I don't know. Obviously, I'm not expecting you to watch a lot of my shows, but I don't change my mind on footballers from week to week. I am somebody. This is only me personally. I need to see people do something. If I don't rate a player, go and show me over a stretch of 15, 20 games that I'm wrong about you. But we live in a day and age now where if I turn around and I use Richarlison as the example, I've never rated Richarlison. I think he's awful. When Richarlison scores a goal, comment, oh my God, Savva's in the mud. Look how good it. Okay, cool. Yeah. Let's do that with Dominic Calvert-Lewin. Yeah. He scored a goal this week. Oh my God, he's amazing. It's brilliant. You know what I mean? So, hey, I find it funny. Just before we go in the next few minutes, Conrad, talk to me. Who is winning this Premier League title? Who have you got as favourites and who's winning it?
I don't know. If it had been last week, I'd have probably had a completely different answer at this point here. It changes all the time. So I didn't expect Liverpool to defensively open up is probably the best way when you've seen all the memes of Van Dijk twerking instead of actually defending and doing all that sort of stuff. And then their other centre-back position just isn't the same level. The right-back isn't doing what... We all said Trent couldn't defend, and yet they've brought a new right-back in who isn't defending even as much as Trent was doing. Kirkes hasn't worked out yet, so they're still having to put Robertson in, but Robertson's off the pace as well. Alisson's still great, but he's like being asked to do more. I didn't expect that from Liverpool, especially all the players they brought in. I thought, instead of them winning games 3-0 now, it's going to be like 5s, 6s, that's what they're going to do. Arsenal are more than, and I don't want to say this on your channel, but Arsenal are more than capable of doing it.
But you can say it, they are. They should.
But
they should.
With the players they've got, the investment they've made over the project and over the years, they should be doing it now. City, I don't think, have it in them to... I mean, it's got Pep Guardiola. They have it in them, of course, but I just don't see them being as ruthless as they were 2 years ago when it was just, you don't catch City. Or City will catch you. They're just not that animal anymore. And I don't know if that's a defensive thing as well, but it's also a lack of a Rodri, which is certainly helping. So I think, and again, it comes back to me when I was saying Sunderland play the teams in the sort of best times. If ever Arsenal are going to do it, your time's now to sort of go for it. I wouldn't be against it. I've got no skin in the game of Arsenal. I wouldn't be against any of the other ones.
I'm very against Arsenal.
I imagine you would be, yeah.
I would never, ever. We just don't hear the end of it. This is the problem. They will go on as though they've won 15 league titles in a row.
Yeah, that's the bit I can't stand is when it's a bit like if they just sort of won it and just went, yep, we said it was the project and that was it. That's all you heard. And you were just like, what's happening next season? I just know it'll be never ending. Even if next season they did a Leicester and finished like 7th, wherever Leicester finished the season after, they'd be like, but do you remember that one season? And it's a bit like when they talk about 2004.
Conrad, listen, I mean, it's difficult as a Spurs fan. If I talk about Arsenal, people clip me up and say he supports Arsenal, which is utterly crazy. But with their squad, with their stability, and let's be fair, they've got stability now. The manager's been there, 6 years, with their squad that is now his, with the amount of money they've spent, with how close they've come to winning it. They should be winning it. This year should be a year where Arsenal go, we are winning the title. Now, as a Spurs fan, I don't want that to happen. But let me take my hat off. They've got the best squad. They've got the best defence by a mile. I think Liverpool and City, compared to them, have not got the best defence. What Liverpool and City have is managers that are a little bit more expressive in the way they play. But what Arsenal have got is Arsenal are a machine. When you watch Arsenal play, they are strong in defence and they are strong through midfield. They are very, very powerful. If they do not win the league this year, serious questions have got to be asked. Right? That's not the banter in me. That's me looking as a football fan and going, what if I said to you right now, what are Arsenal missing? From a squad perspective, where do you look at Arsenal and go, you're weak there? Because I can't see it.
Left-sided forward maybe, but Martinelli's on and off, and then Trossard, but then they've moved Eze out there as well.
Eze can play there, Madueke can play there. Then on the right, you've got Saka.
It's mad to say that's a weakness, but like you look at the rest of the team, like you're saying, and go, well, no, that's fine. Like everything's fine. You're playing 4 centre-backs across the back, and it's brilliant, And then even if the left-back Calafiore drops out, you've got Skelly. Even if the right-back drops out, you've got Ben White. That other centre-back, I can't remember his name. That begins with M. In case of Saliba or Gabriel, that's him.
Well, they've got their best back four they've been playing is Timber, Saliba, Gabriel, and Calafiore.
Yeah.
If that back four is all out at the weekend, they go Ben White, Hincapié, Mosquera, and Luis Skelly.
Yeah.
Who else can do that?
No, exactly. It's like City from back in like 2012 when their bench was like Tevez, Yaya Toure, David Silva, and you're just sitting there going, it's just not fair. You've got 2 teams for one game. Like, how do you do this? And then our bench was like, I don't even want to remember back then, but our bench, you were talking like Carlos Cuellar and like Jose Altidore, and you were just going, maybe they'll kick it in the right direction, sometimes.
Yeah. And that's the thing for me. So I look at Arsenal and go, I think I'd be more worried by Arsenal if they had Pep.
Yeah.
If they had Klopp, if they had a Fergie or a Wenger, I'd be worried about this Arsenal. I mean, the one thing that, and I don't know, maybe this is the Spurs in me. Maybe I'm clinging on to the fact that Arteta's not got it over the line. Mm-hmm. Now, I've got City to win it. Now, Conrad, it's not that I disagree with anything you said about City. I see it. They're not that ruthless club. But I also don't think anyone's good enough to pull away.
Mm.
I don't think anyone's good enough to pull away.
Yeah, right? It's the first time it's going to be that.
For me, they've got a few things that other clubs haven't got. One, they've got Haaland, right? Mm-hmm. And a fully fit Haaland is just sublime. It's ridiculous. He scored another hat-trick this week, didn't he? Rodri, it's the keeping him fit if they do. But Donnarumma as well at the back is a huge
I forget about him, yeah.
He's now, teams are going through on goal. You're bearing down on Donnarumma, and he's a big lad. He's a monster of a man. So
that save from, was it Mbeumo in the derby? Like just the one where Mbeumo got on the volley, and it was like any other keeper that's just going in.
Yeah. So I'm going to go with City. One, I just can't say Arsenal. I can't.
Yeah,
they should win it, Arsenal. And Liverpool, I don't know. I've always said about Liverpool, the key thing with them is Slot came in and won the league with someone else's squad. Now show us what you've got. Now you're starting to build your own squad. That's the key for me with managers. It's okay coming in and taking over another squad, but I'll go with City. I'm going to go with City. You're going with?
I'll go with Arsenal. For now. I don't want to, but I will. Basically, I'm happy with every big side doing really well, just so that the Saudi mafia are further and further down. Basically, that's what I want. Just keep Newcastle away from the top, like as long as we can. That'll do me grand.
They've done well, though. I know they're your rivals, but
behind us. 6-7 weeks of the Premier League have not been above us once. Just saying.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
Are you going to finish above them this year?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Why not? Yeah. No. I don't know. Yeah, go for it. Why not? I think we're more than capable. Why not?
Love it. Sunderland to finish above Newcastle. You heard it here first. Listen, guys, I'm going to just quickly redirect you somewhere, and then I'm going to just bear with me 2 seconds, Conrad, and then I'll thank you for coming on the show. And there's not many people live, so I'm going to send you over. I'm going to send you all over to Hooks because he's a funny lad, and tell him that I think City. Just say Savva says City will win the league. But hashtag Savva raid City to win the league. Conrad, thank you so much. Really enjoyed it. I really enjoy speaking to other fans one-on-one about football and stuff. And I like a nice level-headed conversation. So thank you very much. Thank you.
No problem, mate. Thank you for having me. I really appreciate it.
No worries. Guys, if one of my mods would put Conrad's link right now in the chat, and if we could all go over, just smash that button. It really does help, even if you don't watch it religiously. Even if it's so that you can watch Conrad and mock him when Sunderland lose games. Please subscribe and help out other content creators. Where can people find you, Conrad? Tell us the name of your channel, where they can find you, what it's all about.
So it's at Black Cats TV. I think it's at Black Cats _TV there. But yeah, we do previews, live commentaries, reviews, and we also do a weekly podcast every Wednesday night at 9 o'clock with another group of Sunderland fans where we bring our own questions, sometimes a little quiz as well. So it's always a good laugh.
Good. And that's what it should be, right? It should be a laugh. Guys, girls, thank you very much. Really enjoyed it. Just quickly, we've got Paul Langley putting in the super sticker. Thank you very much, Paul. Really appreciate you. Always very generous. And also Smokey Boy, I've not forgotten about you. You did just buy me a coffee in the Buy Me a Coffee app. So thank you very much for that. You've been very generous lately. Smokey Boy put in another £5 for a coffee today. So thank you. Guys, I'm back 2 more times today. I'm back at 4 o'clock. We're going to be talking about talking about Paratici. Paratici is officially back at Spurs in a dual director football role with Johan Lang. We're going to be talking, what does that even mean? I don't know. I'm going to go and read about it. Vinay has said a few things, but I've been live, so I've not been able to watch what he said about it. And we'll be live at 4. And then at 8 p.m, I'm joined by J Rated for Spurs the season so far. J Rated's always good fun, always good for a soundbite or two. So join me live tonight at 8 p.m. for that. There is the link as well. There is the link for Conrad's channel. If you would be so kind to get over there, just even if 10, 15, 20 of you subscribe, it really does help. Take care. Much love. Hashtag Savva Raid, City to win the league when you get over to Hooks. And as always, come on, you Spurs.